great to see everybody. And my name is Bill Melton. I'm with the Rutgers Club of Lehigh Valley. And welcome to our second episode of Lunch with the Lehigh Valley. And it's great to welcome Megan Miller as well to the, I don't know if this counts as a podcast, a broadcast, a conversation. Let's call it a conversation. But a couple things before we get started. For those of you who have maybe seen a few of the emails that have come out in the last couple of weeks, March starts the Second Harvest Challenge. And I'm going to put some of the links in the chat. So if you have not gotten the email or have not seen the email yet, you can absolutely, hey, how are you?
Aretha putting that beautiful face on camera. Love it, girl.
Great to see you. Welcome. Oh, I'm going to unmute you. And we try to do the, or can I unmute you?
Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Great to see you. Thank you. We're going to put the, I'm going to put the link for the Second Harvest Challenge website on there for volunteering opportunities. In addition to that, you probably have seen, if you haven't seen, there's a military pack volunteering opportunity, as well as a couple of senior food box program opportunities. And I'm going to put those links in as well with dates. And as I was explaining actually to Megan before we all got together, the Second Harvest Challenge is a great organization. The Second Harvest is a great organization to help folks who are suffering from food insecurity. And we do, they do a challenge every March between alumni clubs of Notre Dame and Penn State, and I think a few others in addition to the Rutgers Club, to help donate time, money, whatever we can to help help those who are suffering in our communities. And one of the things that we heard loud and clear during our membership survey was, what kind of charity events can we get involved with? And so this is one of the things that we have at our disposal, and we're really looking forward to helping them out this upcoming month. And again, Megan and I were talking, we cannot believe it's we're coming up on the last week of February already. It is
oh my goodness,
amazing. And then also I sent out, there's been a couple of emails coming out regarding a couple of possible outing events for us in the spring, one being a Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs game and one being a Lehigh Valley Phantoms game, where we can get some tickets together and really help to network with each other and grow the sense of community that we're working on so hard towards growing. And I'll put the links in. If you have not yet filled out your interest form, we will certainly the surveys are open again until next Friday, because I want to be able to get back and get to the teams and be able to say, hey, here's what we want to do, here's what we're doing. And then, is that a future Rutgers student, by the way, walking by?
No, he's a Slippery Rock guy. He
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Slippery Rock. I love that area. And then also we've got other opportunities to network and get together as well coming up in the fall, spring and fall. So that's that. That's the housekeeping portion of our program. So it is truly my honor and my privilege to welcome a good friend of mine, Megan Miller, who I have known Megan for about 15 years now. We sometimes struggle with how long we've known each other. She's the host of an amazing podcast called Intention to Attention. She also delivered a TED Talk on detoxing off the drug of achievement. And then also she's a great keynote speaker. She has spoken to all sorts of industries about how you can drive the intentionality in your life and really help to take control over what you sometimes feel you don't have control over, and how you can really put, and I love what she says about taking mask down, people first conversations. And that's what we're going to spend the next half hour, 45 minutes. And this is to be a give and take. Aretha, if you have questions, feel free. Anybody has questions on the chat, feel free. I'm going to post this out. I'm going to create a YouTube channel, and I'm going to post this out. So anybody listening on the YouTube channel, we're going to go back and check. Go ahead and put in questions, and we'll periodically go back and answer them as we can, as we go along. So with all of that being said, Megan, it's great to have you here with us. Thank you so much. I really love the fact that you're gonna spend some time talking about this really important conversation. And I want to start with a question for you.
Yeah.
Your journey in life is amazing. And I'm every time I hear it, I get goosebumps, and I kind of think, oh my God. So can you share with the folks that are on with us, and the folks that are going to join us later, kind of your journey and how you got to doing what you're doing?
Yeah. Well, first, I want to thank you, Bill, for creating this. I feel like our world has gotten very transactional. It's gotten right.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a girlfriend of mine about this the other day. People don't even like to talk on the phone anymore. You get someone on the phone and it's like a miracle. We almost have phone phobia. So the world feels transactional. It can feel very lonely. It can feel like you're the only one going through it. And it's spaces like this that are so powerful. I read something the other day, and Bill, you and I had talked about this. Did you know, my friends, and I'm going to call you S Siri, because I don't want to jack up your name. So you're S Siri in this moment. And Aretha, thank you for joining, for doing something for you. So easy to cancel on yourself, isn't it? To say, I don't want to do that. I'm tired. I'll listen to that later. Nah. But you showed up here to do something for you. And the power of our social connection, it has been given, there's been new research that it has the same effects on the longevity of your life, and is in the same category as high blood pressure, obesity, and smoking. So the fact that you got here today to do something for you, to get in a space and have just a human first conversation, you did something for your health, my friends. So how awesome is that? So Bill, let me ask you, well, you had a question, or you were going to ask me something.
So just so I'm clear, right? Because I heard what you said. I just want to make sure they are emotional connections, right? For those of us who take the time to do them, we can help combat those anxiety, high blood pressure, smoke, combat the effects of smoking. Not that I smoke, but we can really kind of help put our bodies in the right spot. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, it has been shown that when you spend time with those that you love, with your friend group, you have strong social connections in your life. You make time for your family. You make time to sit at the kitchen table with a dear friend. You make time for a conversation. And all it takes is 8 minutes. 8 minutes of a conversation with a dear friend, 8 minutes of a conversation with your kids, 8 minutes of a conversation with a partner to get out of here. And when you do that, when you are intentional on that, you are actually doing something to increase the longevity of your life. Social connections, your bandwidth of it, not only does it determine your happiness and your joy, but it actually has been directly correlated to how long you will live. And doctors are putting it in the same category as obesity, as high blood pressure, and as smoking, into detection on how long you will live.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Isn't it powerful? So the reason that is so important to me, and why I want to kickstart with that, Bill, back to your original question on who the hell am I? You might be thinking, well, who is this chick? So why that is so important to me is I lived my life for so long feeling like everyone had it figured out but me. I was raised by a single mother. So God bless mamas. I don't care if you're doing it by yourself or you're doing it with a partner, you are superhuman. And she worked 2 jobs to keep a roof over our head. You know, I think back, guys, she was 23 and had 2 kids, raised them by herself, sort of strong, beautiful human. But I was so hungry for attention. And I never knew it. I never felt good about myself. We were raised in Central PA. 570 girl. There's something about us PAers that we love our area codes. I don't know if you feel the same way too, but we always introduce ourselves. I'm 717. I'm 215. I'm 70. So we were born in Central PA. I was a chubby kid. We were PA Dutch. My mom made meat and potatoes. I had a speech impediment. I was a C student. I actually, and this is no lie, I lied about this until my late 30s. Like, who cares at this point? I had a 600 SAT score. And according to my internalizing of the world, I was never going to amount to much. And when I got out of college, because my mom was headstrong on making sure that her kids had more than she had, she made sure we went to school. Shippensburg grad, don't hold it against me. When I got out of school, I found the first thing, guys, that ever made me feel worthy, that ever made me feel good, that ever made me feel like I had something to contribute to the world. And that was my job in sales. And unbeknownst to myself, it became an addiction, my own crippling addiction for the validation that I was worthy and good. And before I knew it, you know, I lived my life, this 15-year journey in sales. And that's where I met Bill, in the hospitality space. As I kept climbing up this ladder, thinking, I'll be happy when I get this next promotion. I'll be happy when I get this in the bank account. I'll be happy when I fit in this size jean. I'll be happy when I drive this car. And you can just keep hustling your whole life on this ladder that is exhausting because it's you versus you. And for me, that was saying that I was going to hit this title within this hospitality company, that when I get this title, everything else is going to fall into place. Hashtag surface level thinking. And I got the job running sales for this $1 billion organization. The title, the thing, it was going to fix everything. And then God, universe, divine, whatever word you want to use, said, nah, girl, you've been going the wrong way. We always think it's one thing, but now I can look back, guys, on my journey and see it was all these slow builds that I just was not paying attention to. You ever tell yourself you're fine for so long, and then you have a breakdown, you're like, I'm not fine. And so for me, that resulted in this breakdown alongside 76, a couple months after I got the job. And what I realized is I sat in that car. It's amazing. That was 8 years ago. And I can go back there like that. You ever have those emotional moments where you can go back there like that in a second? I can sit in that car. I can go back there. The car shaking because trucks were whizzing by on 76, like the worst place to have a mental breakdown. And as I was sitting in that car, guys, I remember thinking to myself, how did my life get here? How did my life get here? And I think we all have that moment, but it is terrifying as all hell to lean into it. And I realized, oh my God, I'm pill popping. And there's nothing wrong with needing some chemical love, but I was using it to numb. I was binge drinking to numb. I was retracted from my friends and family because I just wanted to retract from the world. I was addicted to my phone, slept with it under my pillow. I was always looking for the next hit of the next high, like it was a drug. And what I realized slowly was the person that I never took time to get to know was me, was me. And then I took 8 years of doing hard as hell stuff to go through the muck and the myrrh to really get to know me. And I realized through these small micro moments, these micro tools, the self-talk in here, did I start to show up differently at work? I started to show up differently at home. Things started to, there was this beautiful ripple impact in my life. And I thought to myself, wait a second, maybe it is me. Maybe there's something here. So that started the journey of where I am today, teaching these tools that I don't feel that any of us are taught. And so you're not alone. So you can play bigger. So you don't need to just exist. So you can live in a way that feels right to you.
Yeah.
That's my soapbox moment there.
No, dude, I took a lot of notes as you were talking, and one of the things that came out to me, and am I saying your name right, Aretha?
Yes.
Aretha and S Siri. Well, I'll use
Yes,
S Siri.
that's about right. That could be your new nickname.
You know, is that vulnerability that you had to kind of get comfortable with. And I don't know how many of us, I struggle with that all the time, is okay, but when you're allowed to be vulnerable and you're allowed to have be vulnerable with other people, that's where that growth kind of starts.
Take me to church, brother. So here's the thing. Our world loves to put a hashtag around things. We live in this world of gurus to tell you what to do, and hashtag vulnerability is strength. And while it is, but before you can be vulnerable with anyone else, you have to be vulnerable with you. And that is hard because you can spend your whole life running from the stories you told yourself about yourself.
Yeah.
But when you do these small little things for you to create some space to hear yourself and really get to know you, it's amazing the ripple impact that it happens in your life. I was just telling a friend this last night. There was a time in my life when I was really not highly involved in my family. I would go through the motions. I would show up at some things, but I wasn't connected with my brother. I would show up for my mother. My father wasn't in my life. I've slowly started to repair that relationship. And what a disservice I had done to myself and my family. True joy exists when you create memories with those that you love. It's not about the shit, the things, the social feeds, the accolades. It's about those moments and those memories. And Bill, what I realized is when I started to work on me, it's amazing this ripple impact that had happened in my life, that my family began to heal, that I now have a relationship with my brother that is beautiful, that I'm 5 minutes from my mother and my family has been repaired. And there is science to back it up. I just read this the other night. If you guys are interested in it, there's this amazing guy. I've been obsessed with him. His name is Sean Achor, Achor, and he does all of the science behind what we're talking about, that it's not hokey and woo-woo. There's research to back it up. And he had said, I just heard this the other night, and it was so powerful, that when you work on you, when you take time to take a beat and get to know yourself and make these micro steps and doing things that make you happy, that if you have a friend within 1 mile radius, they have a 63% chance of getting happier themselves. Isn't
Wow.
that what, right? Imagine what that could do for the people that live in your household. So
Right.
here's the thing. When you say, I'm too busy to take the walk, or I'm too busy to I don't know, sign up for that master class. I'm too scared to speak at that thing. Here's what I want you to remember. It's not about you. It's not. It's about the people who find your message that need to. It's about your kids that see you showing up better. It's about your partner that sees you making time for you. It's not about you. And there's something really freeing about that, and giving you permission to post the thing, to get in the room, to speak up and speak at the thing, to do whatever you're holding yourself back from.
Hmm. Aretha and Siri, does that resonate with both of you, either one of you?
I'm really excited, right? So my son, I told you he went to Slippery Rock. He's a science guy. So he and I had a conversation earlier this week, and I saw something. I did not see the literature, but I saw something and it said that being lonely, it has the physical impact of smoking 15 cigarettes a day,
Oh my gosh.
right? And so when Megan was speaking, like, so she was approaching the same information from a different place,
Hmm.
right? But it's the same stuff. It's the same, another side of the same stuff. And so I and then I also was thinking about the vulnerability piece. Like, right, I'm like super, super vulnerable, and I'm always the first person to do that and to try to
Mm,
demonstrate that. I mean, I work for a child welfare agency, and I have 120 staff members. But what happens is people are so used to hiding and faking, right?
Hmm.
So you do it and you try to demonstrate it. And so like right now, like I have this narrative. I'm in I, 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 s- I run like the wealthiest county in the state of New Jersey. And, I'm a black woman, right? And so historically, their power has always looked one way. And so
Mhm.
now the narrative from the people that refuse to change is they're trying to paint a narrative that I'm just angry. And then, no, I just want you to do your job and show it better. That's all, and it's not emotional. It's not personal. It's just you can no longer treat people the way you've been allowed to treat people before. And yes, it has an impact on every other thing. And so there are people that were not free to smile and be happy at work that are now dancing through the halls. And then there's people that's like are fixated on trying to keep things the way they are, and they're
Mhm.
miserable, right? And so we're working that through one grievance at a time. And but I my mantra for myself is like I show it for myself. I don't say no to
Mhm.
myself. Like you may say no, Bill may say no, Megan may say no, but I'm gonna always say yes. And I don't even personalize your no's, right? It's like you didn't see the value in me, but I know my value, and I know how I show up for people. And so, I'm like, when I saw it, my son's like, so what are you talking about today? Like you're gonna do your lunch and do about what? Right? I'm like, I'm just whatever it is, I'm here for it, because it's a very lonely thing when you're in a leadership paradigm where there's no peer at my location, right? There's nobody to process that stuff with. And so I have to find spaces to nourish and feed myself. And so I'm here. And I thank you.
You go ahead, Megan, because I got thoughts, man. Go ahead.
Girl, you are taking me to church right now with this. So, especially as a leader, it is easy to be everyone's dumping ground. And it is easy to become consumed by all of that. And as a woman, I was reading something the other day that 81% of women, and I feel this very deeply, 81% of women will say yes to the thing at work, even if they don't have the bandwidth to handle it, especially when you're a high achiever and you're used to doing the thing, you put more on your plate, this self-induced anxiety. I had a girlfriend of mine, Aretha. She reports into Julie Sweet of Accenture, so the CEO. So it's a very highly visible job. And she puts 15 minutes on her calendar. She leaves it. She says no to other meetings over those times. She leaves it. She puts in the calendar time for me so that others see it, and it creates sort of this human conversation. When did we stop being human in this very digital world, right? And she said she takes that 15 minutes for her in whatever she needs. So, whether that is dialing into a conversation like this, whether that's going for a walk with a podcast, whether that's taking a conversation with a friend, whether that's sitting down off the screen for a hot meal, or whether that's moving her body. And she said, it is amazing how I respond in the afternoon to things. And it just made, Aretha, as you were just talking about doing the things for you, it made me flash to that. And then the other thing I thought of was this, and Bill, we talked about this yesterday. There is this negativity in the workplace, stress and anxiety has been proven to spread like secondhand smoke. It spreads we talk about it, but it does. And
Mhm.
that there is so much power when you take a beat and you set an intention. Did you know 80% of us are on autopilot, right? Looking at our calendar, looking at the day, looking at what we got to get through. But when you take a beat, I'm talking about a micro moment to think to yourself, how do I want to show up on this call? What do I want to get out of this call? Is this a phone call versus an email? Do I need to sit on this email for a moment before I respond? If you just ask yourself that, you are 45% more likely to achieve it by just taking a beat and thinking to yourself, how do I want to show up in this call? And I think there's something really powerful in that and setting up the armor to not let that negativity seep into you and how you show up.
I, that's brilliant. Aretha, I'll give you a chance to respond if you want to respond, if you've got any thoughts, but I got a couple of things I'd like to address with with what you said, Aretha, too. So go ahead if you've got anything to add.
N-
And then,
No, actually, I love and I'm gonna do this, right? Because yesterday I had lunch at 3:30, right? But I'm gonna add time for me on my calendar every day. And so I thank you for that. Like it's just like all the stuff, like really, you can just go from thing to thing and not show it for yourself at all. Like sometimes it's like the end of the day, and I'm like, oh wow, I haven't even gone to the restroom,
yeah.
right? And so it's just like so that like that's like an easy thing to do to just schedule it on my calendar, and I'm gonna do that. So
And
I
not
thank you for
cancel
that,
it, not cancel
and
it. So
and
when
not
someone
cancel it.
tries to put something on, you say, hey, can we move this 15 minutes later to keep it? There's something really powerful that happens when you put it in there and you keep it.
Okay, I got that. I
And
appreciate
And Aretha, there's also tools within, I don't know what you use, whether you use Outlook or Google calendaring, whatever you use. There are tools in each of those to help you color code, and you can say, hey, anything that's green, I'm not moving. And it can
Mm,
absolutely start to give you a visual of this is important for me to accomplish during the course of the day. And most importantly, it's taking that time for me, making sure, and then, there's a whole class on this whole time management and Outlook calendaring, how you can help to make you more intentionally productive in your workplace, and also have time to also with prioritizing yourself and your development and your growth, all of which is what we're talking about. I want to address just for a second the community. That's kind of one of the things that we're here for is, now for better or for worse, we're part of your community, Aretha. And so I'd love to connect on LinkedIn. I'd love to make sure that you and Megan stay connected, because these kind of things are the things and conversations that people need to have about, hey, how do I handle this dinosaur that I'm dealing with who can't kind of, is stuck in the 1940s or 50s or 60s or whatever, and can't understand the way. Maybe we've got some tools to help you. So we're part of your community now, and either you'll thank us later or you won't.
that. Well, I I what I decided this week, my son and I are going to Phoenix next week for a convention. He has a franchise, so we're going to a convention. But I just started doing some research this week, and I want to write a paper, and I'm hoping to get it published through NASW. Um, but I want to talk about uh like black women, like psychological and physical safety of black women in the social work um arena. I mean, lens, right? Through that lens. And but I want to just spend some time looking at that because like right as a leader, you're looking at making sure that there's equity across the board. You're looking at making sure that people are feel safe and connected in the workplace. But really, there's nobody. There's an assumption that if you're the leader, you're protected and you're safe,
mm.
right? There's not a strategy. There's not an infrastructure for that. And so I want to create the conversation so that somebody can really be intentional about making sure. I mean, I'm like 15 months out before retirement, right? Like so I can limp my way there, right? But there's a lot of people that are still going to be struggling trying to find room, right? And so that's my exiting gift. Like I want to do something and have it published to NASW, but I also want to do like an op-ed for our commissioner for our department. Like we're different, right? We're different. Like society's different. Like George Floyd happened, like the pandemic happened, and so this is everybody's trying to figure out how to find normal, like how to go back to this thing that they thought was wonderful before, like, but nobody's being honest about it was never wonderful before, right? So like, let's try. You want to go back to this thing that you have this false reality or connection to, but really, how about we just create what we want right now, like right here, right now. And so I'm looking at doing some pulling some thoughts together and putting it on paper over the next week while I'm gone. And it'd be nice to have a community to at least look at it, right? Like, so look at it and see, like, for tone, right? So for somebody who's not from, like, not a black woman, like, right, like, how does it read? Like, does it read like it's indicting someone else? Does it read in a way that you can enter into my position and understand it, right? Does it lead you to be empathetic, or does it repulse you into, like, having a different kind of response? And so that, that would be helpful.
Yeah. So I want to Siri, anything resonating with you in the conversation? Oh, just muted yourself. So
Oh, so I was unmuted all that time. You were listening to me drive. I am so
you're a
sorry.
very quiet driver then.
Yeah.
I am so sorry. I was driving and it was really hard to tell which was mute. They both look like you're on mute. So, oh boy. Anyway, hi, my name is Sherry. And I was listening in while I was driving and I thought I was on mute and I wasn't able to unmute it. So anyway, my apologies.
No,
I did just miss the last 5 minutes or so since I wasn't 100% sure anymore, I was on mute. Now that I'm not in my car, I left the phone down for a minute while I did some things that made noise for sure. So I missed the last few minutes, but I'm very interested in all that's being talked about. And this is the very first thing I've ever been invited to for this group. So I was excited to join in, and I already said I wanted to go to the Iron Pigs, and I've already signed up for Second Harvest on the 19th. So I'm excited to be invited and to listen in today.
good.
And can I just say hello, everyone? Sorry I'm late. I had one meeting and they finally let me out. And I just want to say ditto to that. That's the same thing with me.
That's awesome. Thank you, Lucille, for joining us, and Sherry, thank you for joining us as well. And yeah, so to kind of continue, and we're gonna maybe we transition to our next topic then, which is really those micro steps. And last year, Megan and a gentleman by the name of Johnny Guidry did an awesome presentation to a bunch of us at the Greater Philadelphia Hotel Association about exactly this, living intentionally, and the micro steps that you need to kind of do. And so we have had a conversation. If anybody watched my guest role on her podcast, we went back and forth about what these micro steps were. And so, one of the things that I keep going back to is how important it is to take one little step at a time. And when you take one little step at a time, before you know it, you're on your way. And I keep going back to that old Christmas cartoon of you put one foot in front of another, and before you know it, you're walking out the door. Like I always look at those things. So Megan, one of the things that I want to talk about is the micro steps, right? How to be authentic, starting with your why. That's the first one. Start with your why. Can you kind of explain to everybody who maybe is saying, okay, how do I know what my why is? How do you figure that out? What your why is?
What a powerful question that is. And Lucille, I got to shout you out, girlfriend, for getting on the line even 30 minutes in. How many of us would have said, you know what? Nope. 30 minutes in, I'm not doing it. Nope. How many of us do that with these small, to your point, Bill, these small little things for ourselves? We're the first person that we cancel on, whether that's the walk for you, whether that's the time with the friend, whether that's posting the thing, whether that's writing the paper you want to write, whether that's whatever it is, you're always the first person to cancel on to accommodate someone else. And so, Bill, to your point with these micro steps, these micro tools, these are born out of my own desperation. What I realized is that my calendar, type A'er, I love me a calendar invite. And what I realized is that my calendar, my days, were consumed with everyone else's wants and needs of my time and expectations of me. And when that becomes your day, which becomes your week, which becomes your month, there is a resentment that begins to build, an anger that's a slow build, because who's gotten lost in all of the things is you. And so I realized that when I started asking myself these 4 questions in the morning, and I have friends of mine that put them on a Post-it note and they put them in the bathroom mirror. I have friends of mine that put it on a Post-it note, they put it on the back of their phone. I have friends of mine that put it in the car, whatever you want to do, to ask yourself these 4 questions in the morning before you let the rest of the world in. I don't want you to tattle on yourself, but how many of us get up, crack open an eyelid, and we go right to the phone, or the news, or the whatever it is. Did you know that when you do that, 3 minutes, 3 minutes of scrolling the emails, 3 minutes of scrolling the social things, 3 minutes of listening to the news, not only will you have a 70% higher chance of having a bad day, it will also impact you for the next 7 to 8 hours. So being aware of the content that you consume, consciously, intentionally consuming, and also creating a space to hear yourself, which goes back to your why. It is so damn hard to answer what feels right to me when the world is blowing in your ear all day long. So taking a beat before you pick up the phone, I have to tell you, one of the best gifts my husband ever gave me was a bathroom phone charger from Amazon. And that is where my phone goes at night. It has a little glass shelf, so the phone can't get wet, although I guess it can get wet now. I don't know. But it goes in the bathroom. And before I go to bed, that's where my phone goes. And I sleep better. I'm not sending emails out late night. No one, you know those emails you send out late night, they're never good. You never feel proud of them the next day, right? Those emails, I'm no longer looking at the social feeds at night, feeling like crap about myself, thinking, how come they got the likes? How come they're going here? How come she got the nice kitchen? I don't have that. I want that. I'm no longer buying crap on Amazon I no longer need. I'm sleeping better. And I'm waking up better, and I'm taking a beat before I let the rest of the world in. And for those of you that are thinking, well, I use it for my alarm, I need all this. Hey, you can get an old school alarm off our friends Amazon, but you can also still use it as your alarm and get up with it. So I asked myself these 4 questions, which has helped me get really clear on what I want. And it's this. Question number 1, how am I feeling today and why? Sounds hokey, but how many of us don't even take a beat to ask ourselves this? I had a friend that just did this last week. Her name is Misty. She runs a law firm in Texas. And she said to me, Meg, I had these questions on the bathroom mirror. And I woke up and I thought, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. And as I had this overwhelming ping of anxiety through me, when I took a beat and I asked myself that question, I realized that my anxiety was all around this meeting that I had in the afternoon. And when I sat with it for a second, I thought to myself, it's about the people that are in the meeting. This has nothing to do with me. And she said, and it just felt so freeing just asking myself that one question. How am I feeling today and why? Question number 2, what is one act of kindness I can do for someone else? And it has nothing to do with monetary. It can be a message to Bill. Bill, I really love what you're doing with creating connection around this chapter. Hey, Lucille, I love how you showed up in that meeting the other day. Hey, Aretha, when you came into that call and you had a smile on your face, it meant so much to me. How many of our emails are full of asks and needs? And how many of emails do you get that are one simple act of kindness? It can be something as simple as leaving a love note for your partner. Sometimes I do this for my honey by the coffee in the morning. I leave him a little note that says, I love you. It has changed our relationship. One small act of kindness, no way, you can't jack that up. One small thing. And then question number 3, what is one micro step, one micro thing I can do for me? So for those of you that might have joined a little later, Aretha was talking about she wants to write this paper. She wants it to get published. How many of us say we want to do these things, and we'll do them when, and then when never comes. And so what this question number 3 is blocking 15 minutes in your calendar to free write. It's blocking 15 minutes in your calendar to take that master class that you want to. It's blocking 15 minutes in your calendar to have coffee with the person that has the job that you want. It's taking 15 minutes to move your body because you feel like crap in your body. It's taking 15 minutes to think to yourself, okay, you know what? Tonight, I am not going to drink the entire bottle of wine. Maybe I'll just have one glass. Like it's just taking a beat. We talked about the power of setting an intention. 80% of us are on autopilot, looking at your calendar, looking at your emails, looking at your to-do, your expectations from the rest of the world. When you take a beat and ask, how do I want to show up in this meeting? What do I need? You are 45% more likely to achieve it. And I know this because I have lived this. And then question number 4 is, what are 3 things I'm grateful for? 3 things I'm grateful for. We've heard this all before. This isn't anything new. But the reason that we've heard it is because it works. It works. You cannot be grateful and resentful at the same time. What's wrong is always available, as is what's right. You choose. I was reading something the other day that for any of you that have kiddos, you know, our kids are really struggling in this social world with this anxiety and this, oh my God, it's the online bullying, and it's really reached new heights. That if you create a space to do a gratitude act with your kids, and this works for ages, 8 all the way up to 80, and you create a ritual of whether that's the breakfast, whether that's the dining room table at dinner, whatever that, whether you're in the car, to say, hey, Bill, what are you grateful for? You do that for 21 days. And you will, it's been shown by research, you will ignite more optimism within your body and your bloodstream just within 21 days of doing one small gratitude act with your family. So those are the 4 questions. And I have to tell you, my friends, I'm not special. I was a C student. I had 600 SAT scores. I came from a single parent household, barely squeaked by in life. I think when I started this, I had a 500 credit score. I was $20,000 in debt, all the things. But I started to do just this, asking myself those 4 questions. And I started to do it every day. And it got me out of debt. It got me in better shape. It got me finding the love of my life. And it got me starting my own business, sharing these words that I needed for so long. So I'm not special. You can do it too. And the other thing I want to share with you is, Bill, when you were talking about one day, one moment, keeping this promise to yourself and keeping it. I just started reading Dale Carnegie's book last night on how to stop worrying. Anyone read that?
Mm.
Oh my God, it's so good. And I never knew his story. So he was, Lucille, I see you bobbing your head. So he actually lived in this cockroach infested apartment. He was sick of being dirt poor. He was sick of having this job that he hated. And so he thought to himself, you know what? Every day I'm going to make one small commitment to myself and I'm going to change it. And that's how he started his empire.
Hmm. That's interesting. So it's Dale Carnegie book?
Yeah, it's Dale Carnegie. The beginning title of it is How to Stop Worrying.
Okay.
I just started reading it last night. I was like, oh,
And
this is some good stuff.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, because what I kind of am gonna do is, when I put it in kind of this to be determined YouTube channel, I'll go ahead and put kind of that link in there too, to Amazon, so folks can grab it if they're interested. So I took so much from what you just said, and of course I want this to be an open conversation. Anybody can jump in. I went back to our conversation yesterday. So when we were prepping for this, one of the things that we talked about was the joy and the surprise in spontaneity, and how spontaneous conversations can sometimes lead to amazing uncoveries and discoveries of this. So where would you put kind of that spontaneity, allowing yourself to be spontaneous in your 4 questions that you ask every day of yourself?
Yeah, I would say that one of the most underutilized tools that each and every one of us have is this feeling of, does it feel right to me? We talk about this intuition, but it is such a beautiful gift that these icons of Bill Gates, of Sarah Blakely, who founded Spanx, God bless you, Sarah Blakely, that the Albert Einstein talk about the power of guiding with, does it feel right to me? And in our world that can feel so busy and you're going through the motions and you're responding to the thing and it's the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. I would say for me, what has been such a gift is creating this ritual in my life of creating some space that is free from the phone, that allows me to hear myself, to make a decision on, well, what is a micro step for me today? What do I even want? I think that's 80% of the obstacle that we have, right? Is asking ourselves, well, what do I want? And so it can look, there's no right way or wrong way to do it. For me personally, I have found that the silence in walking the dog in the afternoon for 15 minutes, no phone. It's amazing what comes to me when I'm in the car, driving to the grocery store or the post office, to sit in silence, to see what comes to me in the morning before I grab the phone, to ask myself those 4 questions and just see what feels right. It's amazing what begins to unravel from that.
Very cool. Very cool. I want to be very cognizant of time. We're at like 46 minutes after the hour. Lucille, Aretha, Sherry, any questions for Megan that came to mind as she was talking so eloquently about the 4 questions she asked herself, or anything that we've covered?
I just love what she says. And the thing that's so ironic, all those steps that you say, I do every day, but every now and then you do it, and that even starts to become a routine. You know, and that's the scary part. And matter of fact, I have a Facebook page which I started for friends. You know, and then anybody's welcome to go to it, and it is strictly private, so I have to formally let you in, but just copy my name. But I constantly put positive things in there, because my background is mental health and IDD. So you can imagine. That's, I'm a special education and disability rights advocate. So I know how important it is for mental health and encouraging folks and things like that. But sometimes we're so busy, again, encouraging other folks, we forget to fill ourselves up. And that's the part that
That's the magic sauce, right?
Yeah, so I needed this little talk because I'll tell everyone else and I'll post it on my Facebook page, and everyone tells me, Lucy, keep it, don't, continue to do that. I understand. But every now and then it gets so even routine for us that it's like, because like I know about the Carnegie, I know about the Robbins, I know about, Anthony Robbins, in other words, those guys. And I understand how important it is to have mental health, but every now and then, like you said, taking time for yourself, self-care is so, so important. And it's not as easy as it sounds.
Lucille, girl, you took me to church right here. My hands were like playing up there. Yes. So here's the thing, and I realized this myself, that your habits can feel almost like a cage, like you place yourself in this cage, right? And then you're like, I don't even like doing this anymore. The permission slip to tell yourself, it's okay to change it. Like if it's no longer suiting you, it's okay to be curious about, okay, well, maybe I'm not journaling anymore. Maybe it becomes like I want to try something different, or I want to do something different, or maybe I need to change this up, or maybe I need to take a beat from it all. The grace and permission to change as you change and evolve. I think that's so powerful, because I think our world loves for you to it's so easy to put yourself in a certain lane, and you can
And a label. And it's like, no.
Yeah, and I love what this conversation, because I was thinking very similarly. I was thinking that, we're not finished products. We're still all in kind of the making, and we're on this journey. So yeah, how do we adapt as we go through to say, Lucille, I love what you said, and I love the vulnerability for you to say, I needed to be reminded myself about this. I mean, that's really, I feel honored to have someone in your background say, sometimes I need to be reminded of it to myself. And I do want to ask, what is that Facebook page that you're talking about? Because I love to follow
Okay,
it.
and it's ironic because I have 3 of them, but my personal one that I put positive reinforcement, I remind people about self-care thing. It's just my Facebook page. You can see my name.
Oh, okay, all right.
And again, it is, and the reason why I said private, because sometimes people post things on there and, or they said, Lucy, share it. But I pretty much, everyone that's on that page, I have interacted with it. You know what I mean? So it's not something that I just, have where the world can see it. You know, the icon for Facebook is the world. It's
Yeah,
like, no.
yeah.
So it's literally everyone that's on that page. It's someone that I've interacted with, spoken with, family, friends, things like that. And I've gone to so many functions where people pull me to the side. Lucy, I love your page. I love your page. And I'm like, oh, it was really for me why I created it. And they're like, no. And every now and then I say, I'm tired. They're like, no, keep it up. I look forward to it every morning. And da da da. I'm like, okay, if you say so.
Yeah.
But I started off with good morning all and blessings, good night. And then I put things in between.
Oh,
So,
So nice.
and I have to read my own stuff.
yeah, and totally. Oh, Aretha, I see you closed your camera. So cool.
Well, I
One,
didn't mean to do that. I was
oh, okay.
trying to. I'm using my phone, so I was trying to. I didn't want when we closed in and the chat leaves not to have the links to the other things. So I was trying to access those right quick.
Oh, got it. Okay. Oh shoot, now I totally forgot what I was gonna say. I apologize. It'll either come back to me or it won't. So I guess as we kind of wrap up and we get closer to the end, thank you, ladies, all 4 of you ladies for being a part of this conversation.
Well, there's women power in here today, Bill. Look at that. There's
Hey.
I'm feeling a little like what is it? Could it be Force Company? What was that old? Yeah. No, it's great. It's great. And you know what? I think that there's also not enough of this conversation between the sexes, right? I think that we can all learn from each other because we think differently and we act differently, and we all have different experiences in our life. But the one thing that ties us all together is we're human beings, and if we don't take care of each other, who's gonna? And
Pretty much.
so Megan, for the ladies here, myself, of course, and anybody that listens after we do this YouTube setup, where can people get more of you? Where can people get a daily dose of Megan Miller? Because I know what it means to me, so I want to let everybody else have that too. Sorry.
Oh, thank you, my friend. And Lucille, I love how you talked about this creating of community. It's so powerful, and caring for yourself doesn't happen alone, especially as someone that's a high achiever. And as female, I think we have tendency to think we got it, we're good, we're fine. But there is so much power in what you surround yourself with, what rooms you stand in virtually and in person, and the content that you consume. And so I would love to welcome you into this tribe. Bill is gladly a part of that tribe already and expand it to each and every one of you. So you can find out more about the work that we do, the intentional living method. We have a podcast out, Attention to Intention. We also have a TEDx talk. Please share it with your tribe, with the children in your life. I would say it's appropriate for 14 and above, 15 and above. Yeah, I would, because, yeah, and there's the website right there, Megan-Miller.com. We also have a Micro Step Monday newsletter, which is every Monday, one intentional micro tool for you to use in the week ahead. And then our social feeds are on there as well. So take a look around and join us in a way that feels right. We'd love to have you at the table.
Thank you. Thank you. more
Very nice.
content for me to add on my Facebook page.
Yeah. Lucille, yeah, girl.
Yeah. Yeah, so as we close out, Megan, huge thank you again. Can't tell you how much this has meant to me. You're now an honorary Rutgers Club of Lehigh Valley member. We don't get jackets, but it's you know, it's a great group to be a part of, and I'm so thrilled to talk to you in the last hour. Thank you, ladies, Lucille, Sherry, Aretha. Thank you for joining us. Couple last closing notes. Again, I'm gonna reach out to Sherry and Aretha. I'm gonna try and find you on LinkedIn if I can. We're doing a LinkedIn Rutgers Club of Lehigh Valley group to kind of help draw community, bring more community to the fore. But again, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Be on the lookout for March's webinar as well. And if you have any interest in saying, hey, why don't we get this person or get this person, I'd be happy to reach out to them and bring them to our organization as well. So
This is awesome. This is awesome.
I'm glad.
It really is.
This is our second one. So third one will happen in March. And we will go from there. So thank you again. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Any parting shots for us before we let you go back to your busy lives?
Well,
Scarlet
before
Knight.
you waste your time, I do not have a LinkedIn yet, but I'm gonna work on that today. I'll do it today.
Okay,
So
awesome.
I'll be there.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me know.
I'm also on LinkedIn also too. LinkedIn, Instagram. My kids tease me. I'm on all that social media stuff.
Very good. Actually, I think you and I follow each other on LinkedIn already.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? Sherry, anything for us before we roll? Megan,
No.
anything?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, but I'm really not good at going there. So don't, if I don't immediately, I'll, accept you or whatever, it's just because I rarely remember to check. But yeah, I definitely have an account.
Okay. So I will not be offended if it takes a while. So thank you again, everybody, and we'll chat soon.
So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for making my day. Have a great
Have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.